As you get older, your tolerance for people starts to just dwindle. You can't really deal with a lot of bull crap. You can't deal with people just being ignorant and arrogant. You start to distance yourself from the world, and you start to notice your soul and your heart get more colder because you finally figured out that all your problems come from people. You know, like most of your problems, your insecurities, your miseries, it comes from outliers. It comes from things that are outside your control. It comes from things that are outside of you, even. You know, there's a myriad of problems that we have to face in this life. So many problems, so many obstacles, and it feels like it never ends because it never ends. And we just have to deal with it. We just have to keep on soldiering on. We have to march through the battlefield and just keep on doing our thing. But it gets hard. It gets real hard when you start to just notice how just stupid people are, right? You start like for thousands of years, people believed in religion, different denominations of religion. So all that sacrifice, all that prayer, you would think thousands of years now, it would mean something that God will eventually relent and start blessing people. Think about like 7,000 years ago when they started believing in these different religions or whatever, even longer. And you pass down the religion to your children, and your children are not blessed. Your children are born into poverty. They're born into warfare and constant conflict. How does this not raise any suspicions? How does this not ring any bells that something is wrong and we're in hell? And I honestly try my best to avoid people as much as possible because when people, you know, don't like you or they have it out for you or they just want to say something to you, they'll use any excuse or opportunity. You can be somebody that, hell, you can try to stay in your room and try to escape the doom, and the doom will come to your room, right outside of it, because somebody's gonna get mad and say, "Oh, how come that person's always staying in the room all day? They don't come out the room," and then that's gonna get you in trouble. So, trying to stay out of trouble and avoid trouble is gonna eventually lead to trouble. That's how I know the demiurge is behind it. If you're somebody that likes to stay in their room because you find solace in your room, you find solace in your isolation, and you're happy when you're away from people, there's gonna be moments where of extreme turbulence that's going to force you out the room, whether looking for a job, going back to school, taking the trash out, getting the groceries, whatever it is. If you can even afford groceries nowadays, you buy a pound of ground beef, and a couple of bit of ice cream, and it comes with like $75. You're just like, what the hell? you know, it's ridiculous, man. But if people would join forces and come together instead of being on this ignorant crap, we could actually make life a lot more meaningful and a lot more manageable and a lot more livable. The problem is the average person is looking out for themselves. Yes, we can blame the elites, we can blame the powers that be, but we also got to take a look at the moral responsibility of the average day person. The average day person is just as wicked and sadistic as the leaders they follow. These are the people that they see somebody hurt, down and out, and want to team up on them and try to attack them. These are the people that, they're like piranhas. Individually, they're weak and pathetic, but in a group, they try to search around and hunt down their prey, right? And in the world, this comes in many shapes, forms, and fashions. Your own brother or sister can be a piranha in disguise, or they can do it blatantly, trying to rob you of your joy, rob you of your confidence and accomplishments if you have any, make you feel low, make you think that being somebody in a downtrodden position is your default position. When somebody feels like they're better than you not having a job, being unemployed, or even if you are employed, just you not being on their level, quote unquote, they feel like they're superior than you. Like, you can have somebody that's struggling and homeless too. Maybe they drive for Uber Eats, and because they make money and they can barely pay their bills, they think that they're better than you because you're unemployed. But meanwhile, you have the potential to have a book take off, your music take off, your YouTube channel take off, and then this can lead to entrepreneurial pursuits, right? But they don't see that, or they don't want to see that in you because it's you. If it was anybody else, they were trying to give props to and all that. But since it's you, and they've been programmed and calculated to attack you, they'll never give you your props or your proper due, you know? That's why I advise young men to stay away from toxic people. Stay away from people that like problems, people that love drama, they chase fights, they want to be in chase. Stay away from people like that because they're just going to bring more problems to your life, you know? And as I get older, you start to just realize that people just like to gossip, talk behind people's back. Like people will say things about you that they'll never say to your face, right? You know, like you got family members, you got your uncle that they'll talk crap about you, but they're too cowardly to say it to your face. And then you got those family members that will say it to your face and they try to trigger you so you can hit them in the face and then try to send you to prison and they'll play the victim. So you got to watch out for that, man. Like you really, as a lonely, rejected guy, you really got to keep your head on a swivel. You can't trust nobody. Hell, you can't even trust your own mind at times sometimes. Because sometimes people's previous negative thoughts can infiltrate your mind and you'll start thinking like them. You'll start calling yourself a loser and a failure. But you didn't even think that until they started to think that, right? Because you don't have a job, a school, or this or that. And then now you calling yourself a loser. You calling yourself a failure. But just a week ago when you was watching anime, you was happy. You know, you were doing your thing. But now somebody else, they let their inner thoughts of what they believe about you infect you. You can't do that. You have to protect your innermost peace, your innermost thoughts, your innermost soul. You can't let somebody talk about you and have that affect you. You have to just ignore it. You have to have strong armor. I know that's easier said than done, but the reason why I say that is because the more people try to talk about you, the more your family tries to make you the black sheep and make you insane, and the more you think about it, the more power you give these individuals. You know, because if you're worried about what your sister is going to think if you drop out of med school, and you're not going to follow your music passion, then you will never be a millionaire. You'll never get to the position of power, wealth, and influence if you always let other people's emotional fluctuations dictate your actions. You can't let other people's emotions dictate your actions. It's your actions. If you want to drop out of school, if you want to drop out of this and it leads to a better path, do it, but do it responsibly. Only do it when you have the money to. Don't just drop out and be homeless just to be homeless, you know. Being homeless for a lot of us, bro, it's not our choice. It's something just happened in life and bada bing, bada boom. We find ourselves in this position because we don't have any money. We don't come from a powerful, wealthy family. And life doesn't care about our emotions, you know. Like this world, it really it really will make you go crazy. This world will really make you lose your mind. Honestly, all the things we have to go through on the daily. It's like some people, I see why certain people just say that life is boring, right? And I see why rich people say it in a way because they do it because they done lived everything and did everything, and to them it's just boring. But I'd rather have a rich person's boring than a poor man's boring because a poor man, you see, a rich man does whatever he wants. A poor man does whatever he's allowed to do. I'll say that again. A rich man does whatever he wants, and a poor man pretty much does what he's allowed to do. And you're only allowed to do whatever little money or savings you got. You may have $80 in your savings account, $80. You go to Uber Eats, it'll cost about 40 or 50 if you want to splurge a bit. At least $30 you're going to spend if you want to get some food delivered to you. If you go to the grocery store, that's going to cost your whole $80 just for a couple of bag of chips and some ground beef and a couple of yogurts. And it's like, damn, you know, it's like the world's already terrible enough, man. You know, like a lot of us, we're already born in a messed up position, and it's bad enough dealing with that and dealing with your own emotional trauma, but then to be surrounded with people who are just so negative, to be surrounded with people who they feel like they own you in a way, you know, like you're supposed to listen to what they say when they say it, however they say it, right? And if you don't, there's going to be like severe consequences, you know. It's just like, I'm so tired of people. I'm so sick of people looking at guys like us in this position and thinking that they can just do whatever, say whatever they want towards us, right? It's just annoying, you know? And I'm so tired of people being assholes, being just degenerates, not having care or compassion about people. Look, I'm not saying be a bleeding heart, you know, but I'm saying recognize when somebody's not bothering you and not messing with you and leave them alone, you know? Just simple like that, right? And this world, it seems like to target people who mind their business. Not only that, when you have a certain type of facial structure, and you have a certain type of way you carry yourself and a certain height and all of that, life can be difficult if you're a short guy. If you're a grown man and you're like 5'7", 5'8", 5'6", around there, which a lot of us are. But if you're not 6'1" or 6'2", like most girls when somebody's like 6'3", 250 to 300 something pounds with of muscle. It depends, right? Or just somebody that's big and in shape, or somebody tall. Because I've seen guys that weren't necessarily in shape; they were just tall, but they had a pretty girl, you know. But they were tall. They were over 6 foot. Like a lot of girls don't like to admit this, but well, honestly, they don't. But they don't really like short guys. And when you're a man and you're short, there's younger men. There's like men who are like 21 years old that'll mock you. They'll look at you and they'll treat you like you're the teenager, or they'll treat you like you're the you're the child, and you were alive before this kid was even thought of. Right? It's crazy because you get mocked in all areas of life when you're a short guy. When you're short, your job choices are going to be minuscule. You're going to be the first one being bullied and picked on. People who, because men size each other up. Let's just be real. That's what men do. It's like a natural inclination. You know, I'm one of the rare ones that just kind of mind my business. But if I notice people trying to size me up or trying to do this, then I start sizing them up as well. Right? It's just a natural thing. It's like men, because a lot of men just grew up where, or society trains men to just look at the other man as competition, not as a brother when you can build with each other. He'll handle this and you'll handle that, and you build a company. They want you to compete. But then when you compete and you see what's at the top, it's just scraps. It's never the whole pie. It's never the whole meal. Like the elites get. The elites get the whole feast. Meanwhile, we get the table scraps. It's brutal. You know, being a part of this wicked world and this wicked society can really drive you insane after a while. Years of isolation, years of trying to interact with people that just reject you, years of trying to better yourself and raise your confidence, and you get nowhere with it. It takes its toll, man. It truly does. And you start to kind of fall back from society because you realize that this society doesn't really care about the average person, the average man. The average man is invisible. The average guy is not even seen, and you're not even appreciated, and you don't even appreciate yourself. Even if you do have talents and attributes that can lead to financial independence, you don't have the belief because your belief has been robbed from you. All the years of isolation, man. People don't understand, there's so much needs that we have to have met that we're not getting. Our emotional needs, our sexual needs, our physical needs, our intimate needs, our spiritual needs, our physical, just every need that you can imagine. These are the needs that we're not getting. These are the needs that we're being denied, and our souls are being neglected. You know, when somebody's able to have a girlfriend, have a family that's supportive and financially helps them, have a successful business takes off, and they're young, and they're able to get financial independence away from their parents, so they ain't got to live with their parents. They ain't got to be homeless. They ain't got to rent some room with random strangers and weirdos and random people. They can just live their life. That's going to be a much more healthier mindset than somebody that's forced to work at McDonald's, that's forced to drive Uber Eats for a living, and they don't have no other way of making money but doing that because they're social, because they lack social skills after a while. You know, there's a reason why a lot of guys in this position choose to try to find jobs that are just lonely and not with a lot of people, because we understand that in those social dynamics and those social hierarchies, when we get integrated with a proper or another human system where there involves a bunch of people, there's invisible hierarchies and invisible positions and invisible ranks that are created once the group is formed. And a lot of us, we rank low on the hierarchy. We rank bottom on the totem pole. So why be involved and rank bottom on the totem pole? Like, why get involved on somebody else's totem pole, and somebody else's ranking system when you can just be by yourself and create your own ranking system? You can call yourself the emperor in your room by yourself, in your underwear, like you don't need, people's approval. because people's approval always comes with some foolishness. Being accepted by a group of people that don't really care about you in the first place, is that really wise? Is it really wise to try to care about how people who don't even like you feel anyway? These people all obviously they have something against you, so they're not thinking logically. They're not trying to be logical. They're just trying to attack you for whatever for whatever twisted thing that's going on in their minds. How how can we ever be rehabilitated and revitalized? I really don't think there's a way. I was watching some World War II footage, and I was seeing all these young men, on these boats, and they're swimming through the water or whatever, avoiding enemy gunfire. And I was like, a lot of these people are way younger than I am right now when they were doing that. They were like teenagers in their early 20s or mid 20s, somewhere in their 30s, but those are like usually the older guys and they had some rank, right? And I was watching what they were doing. Even though that war didn't bring no type of peace to the world, because war is not designed to bring peace, despite them saying that. Because if war brought peace, then there would be peace long ago with no more wars. War only brings more war. It brings a temporary truce, but usually it's always constant, persistent conflict, and that's what eventually arose the little morals the system has, right? It's weird, man. It truly is how we're defined by a job, we're defined by our bank accounts, we're defined by how much we have in a materialistic, artificially constructed world, a hell realm. We're being judged for having things or lack of having things in the hell realm, in a realm that's designed to break your soul, in a realm that's specifically designed to make you feel like you're not in control. And yet we're the ones being told that we're nothing. We're the ones being told that we'll never amount to anything. We got people hating on us, people who don't like us, but they follow us and they watch everything that you do. How can somebody not like you, but follow everything you do, but get obsessive with it? You know, but they don't like you. Isn't that weird? Like what? Like where do you find these bastards and assholes? Like where do they come from? Right? These evil people. Where do they come from? Who raised them? You know, just weird, strange, odd. You know, and these are the type of people that you have to be surrounded with. These are the type of people that you have to be forced to interact with. These are the type of people that you have to work around, that are your bosses, your co-workers. And it's like, come on. Why can't we never work around competent people? Why is there always incompetence around us? Why can't we work around people that are competent, people that are confident, people that are not haters and secretly jealous of you? Why can't we work around people that actually can help us and build into like something that can generate wealth for all of us? Why can't we have our own business that we don't have any haters around trying to sabotage our dreams and ambitions, man? It's like you can be like the person with the biggest dream, but have the biggest haters around you to sabotage the dream. How does that make sense, man? It lets me know this God does things on purpose, man. It's not an accident that we lost. It's not an accident that we didn't have the girls we want. It's not an accident that we're broke. It's not an accident that we're trapped and treated like a joke. It's not an accident. This was done deliberately. This was done on purpose to make us feel worthless, you know? And then they wonder why all the men left the churches. Men left the churches because men got to deal with real consequences. Only women like going to churches because they like to go there, and like going to church is like catching the high, or getting drunk. You smoke a little something, you're high for a couple of hours, then you're back to reality. You drink, you're drunk for a little bit, then back to reality. You go to church, you're praising the Holy Spirit or whoever, for a couple of hours, then it's back to reality. The Holy Spirit ain't gonna help you pay a bill. So you're all that dancing and screaming, blah, 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 the Holy Ghost and the Holy Blood of Jesus, blah, blah. All that crap doesn't help you pay the bills. All that crap doesn't help you get anything in life. Instead, it just makes you more subservient and obedient to wicked, sadistic, twisted, evil powers that you can't even see or realize or actualize, right? We got to be smarter than that, man. If all these gods were in it for us, if all these gods wanted to help us, then they would have been helped us. You think it's been thousands of years. It takes thousands of years of worship and praising these gods for them to make the world perfect. They don't want to make this world perfect. There was a time of cavemen. How come the gods didn't make the world perfect then? There was a time of Achilles, Attila the Hun, Alexander the Great, Julius Caesar. These gods seen all this war, and then they helped the war. They proliferated the war. So these gods don't want war and peace. They want war. They want violence. There's even gods that are specifically designed for war to help you out in warfare. I think Athena is a goddess that can help you out in warfare, and she's intelligent. Ares is another one, right? The God of War series, Ares. He was a god of war, right? There's many other gods of war. Hell, even in the Christian Bible, that God, Yaldabaoth, is known as a god of war. So where's the God of love? Where's the God of peace? Where's that? Where's the God that doesn't put you around assholes that you have to be surrounded with every day, right? Being surrounded by people who absolutely despise you. Excuse me. Apologize for that. But being around people who absolutely despise you is absolutely brutal, Point blank, period. Like when you're forced to be around negative energetic manifestational frequency, and you're forced to be around that frequency for a long period of time, it's going to eventually tear away at your mind. It's going to tear away at your soul. It's going to tear away at your confidence. It's going to tear away in your self-belief. It's going to tear away over everything, man. Like being around a toxic environment and being around people who you don't want to be around, it can break you down, man. Like you stop being yourself and start being somebody else, right? Like you stop being yourself and you start being somebody else. And that somebody else usually is not somebody that's good. It's usually somebody that's broken, that's beaten, that's defeated, that's trapped. You're anxious. You feel pain in your brain. You feel insane. Men's mental health needs to take, a more serious prioritization in the world, or we're going to have a lot more people crashing out. And they're going to be crashing out for valid reasons. Not having a girl, going 20 years without having sex is a valid reason to crash out. It's a valid reason for somebody to just want to fight, to be angry. You have male elephants, and when they go into musk and they can't find a female, they start to attack anything. Like young male elephants, when they can't have a female, and they can't have that sexual alleviation, then they start to go on a rampage. They lose their minds. And these male elephants, they cause trouble to local villagers, local fishermen. They break down boats, they break down houses. They just go on they go on a crazy rampage. And eventually, either the people have to put the animal down or tranquilize it and move it to another location where it won't, cause any annoyances or frustrations. But or risk people's lives, because elephants on a rampage is kind of dangerous. You got an animal that's weighing multiple tons throwing an emotional temper tantrum, but not really a temper tantrum. It's just natural to have something, and to be alone is unnatural. So it's not having a temper tantrum. It's just reacting normally to the volatility of the situation of not having no type of woman for alleviation. So if intelligent creatures like an elephant can experience that, how much more damage does it does to a human soul, to a human mind? When you go this long without having a female, when you go this long being isolated, when you go this long, going through a war all by yourself,